Are you wondering what personal branding is all about? I've done some other videos on that, but I've been talking with some people lately who aren't quite clear on this term that seems to be floating around everywhere as kind of the latest buzzword. So today we're talking about how to craft a compelling brand story that resonates with your audience, builds trust, and sets you apart from the competition. That's what personal branding is all about. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you've been in the game for a while. Storytelling is a super powerful tool that can help elevate your brand. In fact, I think it's critical in this day and age. Actually, before we dive into how to craft your story, let's just quickly talk about why storytelling is so important for your brand. The big thing is stories are memorable. People connect with stories much more than they do with just a bunch of dry facts or statistics. When you share a genuine, well-crafted brand story, it humanizes your business and it helps potential customers feel like they know you. So if you think about any of your favorite brands, it's likely their stories are what drew you into them in the first place. And your brand story should connect with your audience's emotions so they feel that personal connection to you and what you do, and they feel drawn in to you. As you start building out the foundation of your brand story, it really begins with your core values and your mission. And I'm not talking about this stuff that maybe is on a plaque on your office wall or written into a strategic report someplace. These are your actual guiding principles behind your business. What problems are you solving, and why does that matter to your audience? Those things are really key. So, for example, maybe you started your business because you wanted to help people over 40 build a thriving online presence. Gee, I wonder who that could represent. Or perhaps you have a passion for a specific product or service. Just reflect on your why, and your personal experiences and motivations are going to help shape your brand story. There's this concept called the hero's journey, which really is one of the most effective frameworks for brand storytelling. The idea is to position yourself as the hero of the story, someone who overcame obstacles and challenges to create a successful business. The journey doesn't need to be dramatic or over the top. Honestly, it can just be a series of small personal victories that led to your current success. I certainly didn't start my business overnight. I've faced a ton of challenges. I have learned from my mistakes, and I have grown as a result of that. You just want to be authentic. Don't be afraid to share the ups and downs of your entrepreneurial journey, because people honestly appreciate honesty. Of course, you're going to want to make sure you know your audience and you speak to their needs. A great brand story speaks directly to your audience's needs, desires, and pain points. Who are you trying to reach, and what are their challenges? If you're over 40, maybe your audience is dealing with the same concerns as you, whether it's work-life balance, learning new tech, transitioning into entrepreneurship. Sounds like some of the things I talk about on this channel. So when I first started my business, I knew I wanted to help other people who are in the same boat as me, over 40, struggling to navigate the digital world. For you, you just need to tailor your story to resonate with your audience's current struggles and aspirations. Think about sharing a transformation story. Your brand story could highlight that transformation, either personal or professional, that you've gone through. And you could talk about how you evolved over time and how you've helped others do the same thing. People love to see transformation, whether it's a change in mindset or business growth or even personal development. Mindset was certainly a big one for me. I know I used to think, like a lot of people, I'm just getting too old for this stuff. But once I came up with the courage to jump in and I learned from some other people and I started practicing some of these new things with technology, especially with the YouTube stuff, I got better at it and I got more confident with it. And now I help others with it. And that's how the transition happens, or how the transformation happens. And most people have a story like that in their own area of expertise. If you can show that contrast between where you started and where you are now, that's going to help your audience really relate to your journey. Just keep it authentic, keep it relatable. Authenticity is so key in brand storytelling. It needs to be real. It needs to be relatable. You can't try to be someone you're not because it's going to show. The more vulnerable you are, the more your audience is going to trust you, quite frankly. So when I talk about struggles or mistakes that I've made, and I've been around long enough to have made lots of mistakes, believe me, hopefully my audience feels like I'm relatable and genuine and they appreciate that. So don't try to make everything sound perfect. Just feel free to share the messy parts. It's okay to show imperfections. We're all human. It might take you a little while to nail down exactly what your brand story is going to be. But once you've done that, the key is to be consistent. Your brand story should shine through in pretty much everything you do, from your website to your social media posts and your YouTube videos if you're doing YouTube. So I make sure my story is evident in all of my content, whether that's here on YouTube or on LinkedIn, which is my other main platform. And that way my audience always feels connected to me, to who I am, and to what I stand for. Just ensure that your story is consistent across all your touch points, because the more consistent you are, the more recognition your brand is going to get over time. Now, you might be asking yourself, how do you actually tell your story across different platforms? Well, you do have to do a bit of customization. You're going to want to tailor your story to fit whatever different mediums you're using, whether that's blog posts or videos or podcasts. For example, on Instagram, you're probably going to want to focus on shorter snippets of your story, and probably on YouTube Shorts as well if you're making shorts videos. But if you're doing long-form YouTube content, or if you're doing podcasts, then you've got an opportunity to dive into a lot of deeper details. So adjust the length and the format of your story to fit the platform, but just make sure that the core message stays consistent. And then use your brand story everywhere. It doesn't have to just be live on your About page on your website. It should be a core part of your marketing and your sales strategy. Share your story in your email newsletters, on your social media channels, during your sales process, anywhere that you can think of. When you introduce yourself to potential clients, weave that story into the conversation so they can see how your journey can be beneficial to them. Don't be afraid to share it when selling, because it humanizes the process again, and it helps to build that one-to-one connection, or at least that feeling of relatability. Feeling is the key word there. We're trying to spark some emotional response. Crafting a compelling brand story is one of the most powerful ways to connect with your audience and to build trust. So remember, be authentic, be relatable, create that emotional connection, and be consistent. Your story is what's going to set you apart from the competition, so you need to make it count. Feel free to share a little bit about your brand story in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And if you found this video helpful, like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. I'm grateful for all of those things. And check out one of these helpful videos next. I'll see you there.